Hello. Today we're going to learn about imperialism. Imperialism. Okay, this will be an introduction to our unit on imperialism. Imperialism is when a stronger nation seeks to politically dominate a weaker nation. It seeks to dominate it politically, economically, and socially. Imperialism is broken down into two periods, the old imperialism and the new imperialism. Let's quickly review the old imperialism. The old imperialism happened from 1500 to 1800. Europeans established colonies in the Americas, India, Southeast Asia, Africa, and China. However, European power was limited. The new imperialism, the era which we're going to focus on for the purposes of this unit, takes place from 1870 to 1914. Japan, the U.S., and industrialized nations of Europe became more aggressive in expanding into other lands. The focus of the new imperialism was mainly Asia and Africa. And the declining empires and wars left these areas of the world vulnerable. And we're going to learn more about that as we go through the unit. Okay. So let's look at our causes of the new imperialism. Okay, we have three main causes: economic, political, and social. First, let's focus on the economic. What we learned is, as a result of the Industrial Revolution, the European nations and then America and eventually Japan started to create factories and other industrial endeavors that needed more workers and more resources. So as a result of the growing desire for profits, the European nations, especially, and America, expanded all over the world primarily into Asia and Africa to look for new markets, new people with whom to trade, and new areas from where they could gain more natural resources. Political. Well, what were the political motives? Well, by gaining more countries, nations could not only increase their trade, but they could also have more ports where they could base their militaries, base their navies rather. And at this time, remember that naval power was paramount for military power, because ships were actually the only way to travel internationally. So in addition to gaining more power, security, prestige, the political desire to gain colonies was spurred on by feelings of nationalism. And by nationalism we mean a belief that one's culture and country is superior. Not patriotism, a love of one's culture and country, but a belief that your culture was superior. And lastly, we have social causes. Let's look at the social causes. Well, the idea was this. The European nations especially believed that they had a duty to civilize the peoples of Africa and Asia. So they wanted to share the Western values and culture and ways with them. And one of the chief ways that they did this was spreading Christianity. They believed Christianity was superior to the native religions of the Asian and African peoples. So, of course, there was racism. Racism was tied to this, a simple belief of superiority. And there was also the belief in social Darwinism. What do we mean by social Darwinism? Well, Darwin's theory of natural selection, and only the fittest species in nature survive. Well, he felt that that could be applied to people and cultures. So the stronger, more superior cultures would, by nature, dominate the weaker ones, and they would survive. Well, at this point now, what you should do is simply study the notes you've taken tonight, and we'll use this content tomorrow in our first lesson in our unit on imperialism.